I the a-hole for not wanting to pay for my father's medical bills? My female 29 parents divorced when I was about 10 years old, and I have had no contact with my father after a year because he made a choice to prioritize his new family, a stepson who is currently 33 years old and eventually his children with his new wife over my brother and I. No visitation after he got remarried at all. When we called to ask when he was going to visit us, he would just say that he was busy. Before the divorce, I was literally daddy's little girl, his beloved golden child. No joke. I thought my father was the best and I wanted to marry a man like him when I grew up. So the fact that he just dropped my brother and me off has caused a deep-seated wound in my heart, which I will never ever forgive him for causing. He never paid child support, so my mother had to support my brother and I as a single parent. She decided not to take him to court as she never wanted anything to do with him again, even though parents had 50-50 custody. However, 18 years is a long time, and thanks to my mother's love and care for us, I have already forgotten about him and moved on with my life. Same goes for my brother. We have both grown up to live comfortably in our lives, take care of our mother and love her to no end. The story is that this morning, his stepson 33 contacted me via Facebook and said he wanted to talk to me regarding our father. And I was confused at first, and then remembered that yes, I had someone like that in my life. He told me that our father has a medical condition and treatment costs a lot, sent together with screenshots of his medical reports, and that it would be nice if we could pay his bills. And also that my father wanted to speak to my brother and I. I told him that that man lost the rights to be my father when he decided to not have any contact with us. And also that his father's medical bills are none of my concern. So as his children, he shouldn't go around harassing random people for money. Also, all those years of unpaid child support could be used to cover his medical expenses. After which he called me a vengeful and heartless witch, to which I just replied with a smiling emoji and blocked him. I talked to my mom about this, and she said while I have the right to be angry with him, he is still my father and is unwell, so I could help them out a bit. I told her no way in hell am I going to pay for his bills. He has his children to pay for it, so let them settle it. He made his bed, now let him sleep on it. Was I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Nope, not the a-hole at all. Regardless, your father out and out discarded you, and as far as you know has never made any attempt to see you or talk to you in 18 years. Hell no. On a separate note, your mother is a bit of an a-hole for not pursuing child support. It's not for her, it's for you and your brother. And she wants you to contribute? Nope. She wanted nothing to do with him. Wouldn't even let any of his money go to supporting your upbringing. So you can do the same. I believe Opie's mom is a total a-hole for not pursuing child support. She sounds really weak and gutless. Yeah, it really does suck dealing with the courts and a deadbeat ex. But she should have done it anyway. I don't think we can judge the mom on that completely. We don't know how the father treated her, or if she wanted to force the children into a situation where they had to deal with their prickish father. Not stay home. Your mother needs to stay out of this. She made a decision to not go after him for child support, which was wrong. That was not her money she was forfeiting. It was your money. Your father bailed out of your life a long time ago. There was no way in hell I would talk to the stepson or anybody else about this. You are not an ATM. True. They only want Opie because they have the money, not because they want Opie in their life. If Opie's mom wants to contribute so badly, then she can put up the money. Not the a-hole. The man is an a-hole. He chose to drop you and not to support you in any way. If they tried to sue you, you have all the unpaid child support to prove he was not up to his responsibilities as a parent, and thus you owe him nothing. Your mother was an a-hole for not taking him to court, and thus robbing you of the child support he owed you. If she wants to keep helping him, she can pitch in. That man is not your father. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my mother my brother's number? My 16 female mother has cancer. She's getting treatment, but I don't think it's working well. It's hard, and we've all been a mess. But yeah, my mom has a son from her previous marriage. Brady, 27 male. My mom didn't treat him well, but he cut contact with her when he turned 18, and I'm pretty sure he calls his stepmother mom. I don't blame him and can respect/accept the fact that while my mom was a great mother to me, she was a terrible one to him. We talk occasionally, but it's usually just him sending me pictures of his wife and kids, and me sending him pictures of my cat and I. Lol. He has zero contact with my parents. I don't know if it's the cancer or the inevitable, but my mom has been talking about Brady a lot. I tell her things like, oh, he's fine, etc. You know, a general idea, but I don't go into detail to respect his privacy. But then my mom started asking me to make him visit at least once. So I texted Brady and asked if he wanted to visit, and he said no. It would be too hard, and then he just changed the topic. I didn't ask him to explain. I told my mother and she started crying. She begged me to give her his number, and that she just wanted to see her first baby one last time. She wanted a chance to apologize and tell him that she loved him. I was really tempted, not gonna lie, but I just couldn't. I love my brother and he's always been kind to me. The least I can do is respect his wishes. It hurts to see my mother cry while she's already in such a weak state, but I refused to give her his number. She just cried harder and asked me why I was torturing her as well, basically implying that I'm in the wrong for preventing her from seeing her son. My dad is upset with me as well and said that he can't believe I'm choosing a spoiled bastard over my sick mother. I don't think I'm the a-hole, but I do feel horrible. My mom is incredibly unwell. It is true that she can't really do anything. It's the only thing she's asking for these days. But I just can't. Does that make me an a-hole? Not the a-hole, especially after what your father said. Your brother is a person just like your mom. And just because your mom's upset now doesn't excuse her behavior toward your brother. You might end up having to go stay with your brother if your dad decides to continue being angry with you after your mom passes. Agreed. The parents are definitely stressed and grieving. But if they blame the brother for the mother's poor parenting, then it's not unlikely they'll direct resentment at OP. Yes, this is very complex, but you're not the a-hole though. If I were in your shoes, to be honest, I would reach out to Brady one last time and tell him that she's sick, and if any part of him wanted closure, now is the time. Reason not being that she deserves his forgiveness, but that he might wish he did talk to her later in life. So, no, don't give her his number, but I would make sure that he knows the full, that I'm not pushing away at all, of course, situation, and that she's very regretful. That way, if there is some hurt, she can heal before it's too late and he doesn't miss out. But if he doesn't want to, then unfortunately she simply has to deal with the consequences of her actions and can't just ransack his life regardless of his wishes. Not stay home. You may want to consider adding a password to your phone, if you don't already have one, and changing your brother's contact name in your phone in case your mother decides to go snooping for his number. Not stay home. She had years and years if your brother's dead. Now it's making her realize what she's done. As much as the general advice is usually stay out of it, part of me feels that you might suggest she writes down how she feels, and then you just tell your brother that you have this. And that is then left to him if he reads it or not. But she's given a chance to make her peace, but if he then chooses not to read it or respond, your conscience would be clear. You absolutely poor thing to be in the middle of this. Who is looking after you, my dear? The letter might be a good idea. And it's sweet of you for asking about me. I'm fine. I don't think the situation's really sunk in for anyone yet, so I don't blame my parents for being preoccupied. My brother sends me money every 2 weeks, plus I also have my cat. Thanks again. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for ruining my father's gender reveal? My 38 female father, 66 male, started dating Vanessa, 26 female, during the 2020 lockdown. He's always been very vocal about wanting a son. Even when me and my sister were little, father would scorn mother for us not being boys. He hated the idea that someday we might get married to men he didn't approve of. He cut off my sister for this reason. I've ended several long-term relationships over the years because he also threatened to cut me off. No one was ever good enough, yet I was always pressured to have kids of my own. Vanessa is now pregnant. She called me inviting me to the gender reveal, and knowing my father's history, this concerned me. I asked if it expressed any favoritism to a certain gender, and she said that he hadn't. Apparently, he doesn't care at all what gender the baby is and will love it either way. BS. The gender reveal was at my father's house in the country. I stayed over the day before, so was there when everything was being set up. They were doing the reveal using gifts that only half the guest had, depending if they picked a blue present box or a pink one. It was my job to get the text from the doctor and to tell the present people which color box to put the gift in. I was one of the first to find out that baby was a girl. Throughout the time I was there, Father kept on with his "I don't care what gender" spiel in front of Vanessa. But in private, he stated multiple times his preference for it to be a boy. If it wasn't a boy, then he said he'd be happy to go another round until he got one, unless Vanessa lost her figure. He constantly said like he felt it was a boy and that he's got it right and finally getting a last name, son. He also asked me for hints as he knew I knew the gender. Every time he did, I heavily implied he was right. To clarify, I never lied or told him the gender. I just implied that he was right. By the time the party happened, he was convinced and went around telling people he was certain it was a boy and trying to look impressive. Suffice to say, when his blue present box was empty and Vanessa's wasn't, he wasn't very happy. Everyone who didn't already know he'd wanted a boy could tell he was upset, and Vanessa was clearly uncomfortable. He blamed me for lying to him and said that out of my jealousy, I ruined the event. Apparently, he wouldn't have thought it was a boy if I hadn't told him. But he also said I ruined Vanessa's experience, and I do feel bad about that. It's her first baby and she was so happy to find out what it would be. I might have ruined her experience by egging my father on in his convictions. I feel like I didn't do anything wrong, but if I hadn't said anything, Father might have been able to act better. Am I the a-hole? It's not relevant, but adding as people are mentioning it in comments. My sister passed away a few years ago. I stay involved for the inheritance. Yes, for myself, but mostly for her son/my nephew, so he might be able to get the opportunities he deserves. Added to, all the Henry VIII parallels are cracking me up. But I have to say, with 2 girls and 1 boy, Henry did have the better odds. Now for the top comments. I'm sorry, but what? Your dad is 66 and dating a girl of 26? And no one in your family's concerned about that or considers that extremely creepy? And now she's pregnant as well. Not stay home. We all think it's rather weird. I deleted this point to get it within the character limit, but he has a lot of money, so that plays a huge part in it. Is his money the reason you care about being cut off? I can't imagine any other reason for wanting to keep him in my life. And even that isn't enough. Live your life. His money isn't worth your happiness. His money has given me a house. It allowed me to start my own business. But it's true. I could make enough now to walk away. I stay in the picture for my nephew mostly. As my sister was cut off, he wouldn't benefit at all unless it was from my inheritance that I'll leave/put in trust for him. Your dad is the a-hole for dating someone 40 years younger than him and having a child at his age. When the child turns 18, he will be 84 to 85 years old? It sounds like an awkward situation all around, but you just kind of played it cool. He's probably more mad that he didn't have a son and channeled his frustrations at you. Not the a-hole, but you have some interesting family dynamics. Health problems and neurological problems are also much more prevalent in kids with very old fathers. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for blowing up at a nurse for telling me that my daughter wasn't my daughter? So me and my partner adopted our daughter 2 years ago. We don't have any biological children, and we don't really plan to just yet. Our daughter is 6 years old now. She does understand that she's adopted, and we've made it clear time and time again that even though she didn't come from my belly, we still love her and treat her as if she did. The other day, I took her to a pediatrician because she said that one of her ears felt full. She did have a cold last week, so that was expected. It is said that her ear would drain out eventually. All good. The nurse comes in with a discharge sheet and commented that she would have never assumed that I was the mother of my daughter since I looked nothing like her, which I don't, for obvious reasons. So then I said, oh yeah, we adopted her, so that's why she doesn't look me or my husband. Then this nurse goes, oh, okay, so she isn't your daughter. I was a little confused because I thought I had just explained this whole situation. I said again, she is my daughter. We adopted her a few years back. The nurse says, but technically she isn't your daughter, and her real mom is somewhere else. I was really upset because what the actual hell? I said again, but she is my daughter and I am her mom. The nurse kind of sighed and said, okay, maybe legally you are, but her real mom is the one that gave birth to her. My daughter was looking up at me kind of confused and I can't even imagine what was going through her head. I had enough. I said to this nurse, what the hell is wrong with you? I keep telling you that I am her mother, and you keep denying that. In front of my daughter, no less. The nurse goes, I'm just stating a fact. Biologically, she's not yours. I went again, yeah, because she's adopted. We adopted her and gave her a home. What, I have to push her out of my V to be her mother? The nurse goes, well, that's the dictionary definition of what a mom is. I had enough. I told her to wash her mouth of the BS she had been saying at me and my daughter, and I left and went home. I was really shaken up at this point, and was still when we got home and my husband noticed. I told him what had happened. He told me that the nurse was really dumb for saying that, but I shouldn't have blown up on her like that. As a nurse, call the office manager and report that nurse. The amount of obscenities I want to use would probably get me banned, but she was beyond unprofessional for every single word of that. And she said it in front of your daughter? I guarantee that is not how we are taught in nursing school. I am so angry on your behalf. But please, please report her. Not stay home. As a nurse, I agree. She's not only unprofessional, but violated a nursing code of ethics. And also general human morality. Not stay home, but please report this nurse. It's incredibly unprofessional, and she needs to be reprimanded. Who knows what insensitive thing she'll say to someone a lot more vulnerable. She makes my blood boil. I'm so mad on your behalf. Exactly this. Please report this person ASAP. This condescending attitude, especially in front of your child, is completely unacceptable. The doubling down with a whole definition response is what made my blood boil. I would have told her to look up some other choice words in her little dictionary. Someone that speaks to clients this way is entitled and ignorant. She definitely doesn't listen to her patients, and that's frustrating at least and dangerous at most. Edit, thank you so much for everyone's kindness and support. My husband did apologize to me and he gets that I was just sticking up for our child. Who is our child whether people like it or not? We went to the clinic in person and filed a complaint, and hopefully it will turn out in our favor, and in favor of those who don't exactly have a so-called traditional family. Thanks again.